Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton News Daily. There are a few conflicting reports today about the takeover of 777. We've had to wait a very, very, very long time to even get to this point of the takeover. There is a source today saying that 777 have passed the Premier League owners test on the basis that they'll be paying back the loan deal to MSP. That's 158 million, and that it should be completed in early May. But according to the BBC reports, the stumbling block is that loan. There was four things that basically 777 had to sort out before being able to buy Everton through the obviously passing the Premier League test. Three of those are not an issue whatsoever, but this one, the paying back the MSP's loan, has become slight more of an issue because the money's going to have to come from their balance sheet or a outside investment from 777. So they're confident that it will be done. They're confident that it will pass, but it mightn't be quite yet. And it is effectively the only thing holding up the takeover of Everton Football Club by 777. So that all seems really clear as mud, doesn't it? At the moment, we just really hope this can be sorted soon rather than having to deal with these daily issues. Of course, 777 were given an extension by MSP on Monday night. That was widely reported. So it's in their hands now. It's that deadline is obviously come and gone. An extension's been given, and it is just this now that needs to be sorted out. And if it is sorted out, then they will be the new owners of Everton Football Club. And whether people like that or not, I think for all of us, we need a clear indication of where we're going as a football club, because at the moment it really is, the whole thing really is a mess. It really is absolutely a mess. So maybe if we're not that far away, but how close that is, we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Some good news today. The Everton Women's coach, Brian Sorensen, and his assistant, Stephen Nelligan, have signed new contracts till June 2026. They originally took over Everton in 2022-23 season. And it's been up and down. This season hasn't been particularly great, but Everton have lost a hell of a lot of players, very much like the men's team. The women's team have had to sacrifice a lot of really good players who have left and gone on to bigger and better things. The Everton women always seem to have a really good calibre of player and always leave and go somewhere and do really, really well. So if it's very much like the men's team over the years, if you combine a lot of those players, they have a really good team. They don't have the budgets of other teams, of course. Other teams are bringing in, like Arsenal, getting 60,000 at the Emirates to watch them, where Everton women obviously play at Walton Park most weeks in front of 2,500 people. And yeah, they're doing all right for what they've everything's obviously about just getting through this season and going on and trying to build something. And they recently drew 0-0 with Liverpool at Goodison Park in front of just short of 10,000 people. And although other clubs are getting really, really huge numbers, 10,000 people at Goodison Park for an Everton women's game isn't anything to be sniffed at. So Brian Sorensen said, I am very happy. I really like it here. I like the club. I like the people at the club, and I like the fans. There's a plan in place. We have a good future and a good squad going forward. I think it's important to show in the background there's a plan. Results this season haven't been the best at times. Injuries to key players have been a big part of that. But we are performing extremely well, and we have a good group. We want to continue working on that. The building blocks are there. This is one of the best groups I've worked with for sure. They stick together and believe in tough times they will find the wins. Games like West Ham away, Villa away really shows the character of the group. We're all determined to keep moving forward with Everton. So that's really good. That's a really good news because, as I said, Everton women's budget's been absolutely slashed as well, and they're really seeing. And they've really seen, obviously, the raw end of what happened with USM as well, because they were sponsored by USM. Their sleeve sponsor was part of the USM group. You know, the sponsors at the ground were all USM group. They've seen it. You know, I think even the person who run it was one of the nephew of Alicia Usmanov. So they've really suffered with losing that sponsor. So it's good that they've got the manager in place and can keep going forward. I think that's really important for them at this time. Just some other news, a bit more rounded football news, but FA Cup replays have been scrapped for next season. This is basically to allow the teams who play in the Champions League. The windows that would be in the replays have been taken by the Champions League teams. Again, football at the highest level, impacting on football all the way down. There's been a lot of angry criticism to this, as you can imagine. So there won't be any replays. The FA Cup final will be played on the penultimate weekend of the Premier League. So the Premier League, again, wanting the last game of the season. There'll be no Premier League games on the FA Cup day itself. But it shows, you know, the power that those teams in the Champions League have and are affecting the whole game. In terms of the Premier League, what it'll mean as well is the Premier League's going to start midway through August, and there will be no winter break. The FA is saying and the Premier League is saying there will be a 3-week window in the summer where players will basically have to rest. There'll be a window for them to get that rest. So no winter break going forward, just a bigger window in the summer for those teams to rest. And it'd be interesting to see whether teams stick to that, because obviously with lucrative, tours abroad and things like that, teams don't always stick to these things when they're asked to. I think if teams were allowed to go on a break in the winter break, they would, but they're not allowed to. So really interesting moving forward. They have said £33 million will be given extra to teams that will, in the lower leagues that will be missing out on those big lucrative replays. We'll wait and see how that equates. It seems like a big number, but is it really? We'll see how that all plays out. I'm sure there's a lot of Premier League teams and a lot of Premier League managers who are really happy with this. They'd rather just have the game settled on the day, whether they win or lose. And I know it was a big source of frustration for some, but in terms of the overall game in this country, it is a massive blow again for teams lower down and grassroots football once again. That always seem to suffer for those teams at the top. And let's not forget those teams at the top wanted to destroy the football pyramid. Let's get that right. And yeah, Everton are the ones who get the points punishments for basically nothing. So there you go. Sean Dyche doing his press conference tomorrow ahead of Sunday's game against Nottingham Forest. We'll have all the details of that tomorrow on the Daily. Well, the Everton News Daily. Don't even know the name of it, do I? Don't forget, we do exclusive shows over on Toffee TV Premier. Make sure you join us for them as well. The link is in the description. The QR codes come on the screen on that. No adverts on any of the shows or any of the podcasts on there as well. Thanks for watching. See you later.